everyone, welcome to podcast Hackathon Latam. Today we have a ecosystem session with Christian Langbacker, it's that right? From Encointer team. Okay, about Encointer is a specialized Web3 protocol for community issued income and unique digital identity system. Encointer has recently obtained a Kusama Common Good parachain slot. Christian led the core development since a few years. Christian was with Encointer since the very beginning. His background is electrical engineering and computer science. He studied at Ethereum Storage. Afterwards, he started to work in the field of decentralized system at the Supercomputer System AG, a Zurich-based engineering service provider company. This is where the fundamentals of Encointer and integrity were born. Before they emerged and standalone projects, he's also the development lead at Integrity AG, a Swiss company focusing on privacy and scalability in the Web3 world, which recently secured a Kusama parachain slot and now even a Polkadot parachain slot. So, Christian, it's a pleasure to have you today in the first Polkadot Hackathon Latam. Welcome.
Thank you very much for the intro. I'll already start sharing the screen.
Sorry, just a few things.
Yes.
If the audience has any question, you can leave them in the chat. So maybe we have to make 2 stops for answer the questions. Yeah, it's all yours.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the intro. Yes, as Ernie has said correctly, we are a Web3 protocol, and we want to give community-based income, and we will want to give a cyber defense mechanism for the greater ecosystem. And was my screen sharing stopped, or yeah?
I can
see my screen?
Not yet.
All right, I assume everything is correct.
That's perfect. Yeah,
so
I can see.
Yeah, so the roadmap here is I'm trying to solve. Then we will go a bit into detail, a bit into our tech stack. And pardon? Do I need to restart? Was I off, or?
No, it's okay. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I'll tell you a little bit about what the communities are about that we have on our Encointer blockchain, and we will go through a quick demo. So yes, as Ernie told you, we are a common good parachain on Kusama. Common good essentially means that we are part of like the Polkadot blockchain ecosystem, but we didn't have to go through the crowd loan process. We were basically granted it the slot from the Kusama governance because they thought we provide a good value for the ecosystem, and also we have no personal business case. We are a non-profit organization, and we don't want to make money with our project. So we want to, like, in general, our perspective on blockchain is that it is meant to give power to the people. It is meant to give them the empowerment to over many things, that the power is no longer in centralized institutions, but it is at the people. They can decide freely what they want. So what is needed for this this empowerment? It is inclusion. And this is where the first major challenge lies for the banking system. So we have 1.7 billion people that are unbanked in the world, according to worldbank.org. People might think, yeah, today that we have many alternatives for banks. We don't need them. Sometimes it might even be better to not have to mess with the banks. They are kind of a hassle anyhow. But then there is, like, it is not that easy, because there's one key driver for this financial exclusion, and this is that they don't have a state-issued ID. 1.1 billion people of those 1.7 billion, they don't have a state ID. This is essentially like 15% of the world. They are invisible to all the market mechanisms. Legally, they don't seem to exist. Although, wouldn't you agree, this is kind of ridiculous. If you stand here in front of me physically without your ID, could I deny that you exist? Of course not. But for the financial markets regulations, this is the case. You are not allowed entry. The result of this is great economic inequality, which is one of the root causes of crime, of low life expectancy, and so on. And even though like we're improving in many things of the world, the economic inequality has actually been growing in the recent years still. So, however, like in many of these cases, the people, they have skills, they have services, they have goods to trade. They just like liquidity. The counterparty does not have the purchasing power to buy these kind of things. And by this, the community traps itself in kind of a cycle of poverty where it is never able to grow. And even if some of them like have cash, an unstable currency value is very damaging if like the economic is not very stable. This has been shown in Venezuela. And like these kind of unstable currencies, they have been a driver for crypto adoption in these regions. But crypto is not yet the solution yet to everything. It seems to offer an alternative, but does it really? Here I have plotted the per capita daily income of a person in 2020. On the y-axis, we see the amount a person earns per day, and on the x-axis, we see the amount in percentage of the global population, which is below set threshold. Like as an example, we have here a $2 mark at 10%. This essentially means that 10% of the global population earns less than $2. And now if we look at those points, what they actually mean here on our plot, we have those $2 marks and the $20 mark, which is the cost of an Ethereum transaction fee in 2020. That's, well, not the cost, it is basically like we have here the 10% percentile, which means that 90% of all Ethereum transactions have been more expensive than this. And here we have the 90% percentile, which means that 90% of all Ethereum transactions, they have been cheaper than 20 bucks. So most of them are between this window. And yeah, so what can we see from here? This means that in 2020, 10% of the people, they only earned as much as one Ethereum transaction costs per day. And this is, of course, not very inclusive. We wanted to give power to the people, especially to the poor people that are outside of the financial ecosystem, yet they are denied entry because they simply cannot afford the transaction fees of crypto. So this is kind of where we want to come in with our Encointer community. We want to, with our Encointer blockchain, sorry. We want to create communities everywhere in the world to create their own digital currency and distribute it at the regular intervals and use it to stimulate their own local economy. So this sounds fancy, but how do we actually do it? How do we prevent that like one person does not get it more than once? It is not that easy, although the idea is simple. How it actually works is like we assume that one physical person can only be at one place at one time. The people, the participant of our communities, they agree or they register for certain key signing gatherings across the world, which are held simultaneously. So they register at the blockchain, and then the blockchain assigns them to randomized meetup locations. Then they go there and scan each other's QR code. And by scanning each other's QR codes, they attest physical attendance of this gathering. And these QR codes are then sent as a transaction to the blockchain. And the blockchain afterwards evaluates all those scans and evaluates thereby those meetups. And if they have been held correctly, it issues some tokens in return. All right. So by doing this, we have like certain benefits for the communities. First, we have a local currency for local needs. And there are various studies that shows that local currencies, they improve local growth of the economy more than if you depend on other macroeconomic currencies. And the reason is, one of the reasons is that the value of the local currency is determined by local supply and demand. It is not subject to like volatile macroeconomic factors, to like, now as we see in Europe, that like you have huge inflation because of war or whatever. If you have like a very isolated, not isolated, but like local economy, it is much more robust in these kind of scenarios. Also, what we employ is each Encointer community currency is subject to demurrage. Demurrage is a technical term which basically means that the tokens decay over time. Like for instance, if you have one token now at one specific point in the future, this token will only be 0.5. So the token decays over time. And this mechanism, it stimulates the people to actually spend instead of hoarding the money, which in turn keeps the economy going. Also, we have a unique digital identity because of these physical key signing gatherings that we attend. So we create a link between a digital account and a physical person. And as you cannot be at multiple places at one time, you can like formulate a proof that you only have this specific account. Lastly, we have been I have been telling about inclusion to the financial system. In our Encointer community, you don't need anything to be part of it. You need a smartphone. This is the only constraint, and you need to be physically able to go to such a meetup location. We know that it is not 100% inclusive, but I think we're already doing a very good job there. All right, like benefits for the greater Web3. We have a cyber-resistant system. We make sure that like a physical person can at most hold one digital account, and this information can be used also outside of our Encointer blockchain. Even more so because we are part of the Kusama ecosystem, which means that basically all other blockchains connected to us, they have access to this information. And whenever like you have something where you want to ensure that one person does only get like something once, you can like query our Encointer blockchain for this proof of personhood. And what this enables also on our blockchain is that we facilitate democratic mechanisms where you can say you have only one person, one vote, which is something where we believe that we are currently pioneering in the blockchain world, as usually all kind of governance, democratic governance mechanisms, they are something like token voting based, which means that the wealthy have more power. And yes, this is something I forgot before. We have those community, like those community currencies, which are bound to a specific location, a geolocation in the world, which in turn allows us to have transaction fees in those community currencies, which are purchasing power adjusted. Like remember the slide with the Ethereum transaction fees before? Like part of the problem was that we had a global market, so we had global transaction fees, which like categorically excluded the poor countries. All right, so this is basically from an abstract level what we are trying to solve and how we are trying to do this. I will go a little bit now into our ecosystem, like from a broad perspective, how our parachain is constituted, what tools do we have to talk with our parachain, and so on. Yes. So this is the architecture of our parachain. As many of you probably know, we work with this substrate framework, which basically makes it very easy to create your own blockchain, as like all of the complex networking logic or consensus logic is part of the framework. And the only thing we need to do is add our custom business logic in the form of modules, which are called pallets in this context. So actually, it is not that complex what we have here. We have like first the Encointer communities palette, which is the palette that just manages, it keeps tracks of all the communities over the world, and it also stores some metadata associated to our communities. Then we have the Encointer balances palette, which is, it tracks the community currencies, how much does an account have in the respective community currency. Also, for those who are a little bit deeper into the substrate framework, we basically enabled paying transactions in the community currencies by implementing the fungible trait of the substrate framework. And simply by implementing this trait and a few lines of code in our runtime, we enabled community currency transaction fee payment. Yes, and then we have the Encointer ceremonies palette, which is kind of the old name. We wanted to get rid from the ceremonies name, as we had quite some negative feedback that ceremonies is a term that is much associated in religious context. So we are doing a rebranding now. So we will call it from now on key signing gatherings. However, in the code, it's still the ceremonies palette. And this is basically the core logic for all those gatherings. It assigns users to specific meetup locations. It evaluates those meetups that they have been performed according to the rules. And if yes, it will tell the balances palette that the accounts that have been part of the meetup, that they have, that they should get some money. And then we have another small palette, the scheduler. This basically schedules the key signing gatherings. We have first the registration phase, and then an assignment phase where the people are assigned to their specific meetup locations. The users don't need to do anything in this phase. And afterwards, we have the testing phase where those gatherings take place. Yes, and in this phase, the people actually simultaneously go to their assigned meetup locations to attest each other's personhood. Lastly, we have the Encointer Bazaar, which is already in our parachain business logic. It's just not, we don't have a front end yet, so it's not really used. The idea is that we can establish a community market where you can sell goods and buy goods in your local community. It will also be integrated in a mobile app that we are developing. Yes, this brings us to the next part of our ecosystem. We have implemented an Android and iOS application for cell phones. It is, for those who are familiar with Substrate, the Substrate stack, it uses the Polkadot.js API in the backend in a hidden web view to talk to our Encointer blockchain. Essentially, it is a wallet which has the extra functionality of registering for the key signing gatherings, and it will show you where you need to attend for your gathering. Yes. Lastly, we also have a handy tool which is called the Encointer Explorer. It's a web application. It shows the different communities all over the world and some metadata associated with them. It uses also behind the scenes the Polkadot.js API, which makes like the Substrate tech stack helps us greatly developing these tools. So we really need to, it abstracts away a lot of the logic so we can just easily implement new front ends. Yes. So this is, again, a small overview. I hope there are not too many things here. I have talked about the current features, the parachain, the application, and the Encointer Explorer. Soon we want to have a Bazaar front end. We want to have some credit system for businesses and individuals in the community. Essentially some voucher scheme. And then Encointer Democracy, based on the one person, one mode scheme, is being implemented and will soon be going live on the parachain. And then lastly, we have a privacy and scalability layer, which we want to implement soon. Scalability, why? Well, we hope that we'll have communities all over the world, and I will show you later some numbers from the Zurich community. If we really have many of them, we need some scalability layer, as the turnover and the transaction throughput is quite a lot. Also, the privacy layer will be based on trusted execution environments, so it is no longer publicly visible which account is assigned to which meetup location, and also all the transfers will be completely private. And yes, so this is basically it. Yes, so I have prepared a small demo to also, so you can see how you interface with our tools we have. We have a Rust command line interface that we made to talk to our blockchain. And what we'll essentially do is we will create the specifications of a community on our testnet. And afterwards, we will actually create it on the testnet, and we will perform the bootstrapping ceremony, or we will mock it essentially. And yes, so just to get you a little bit on top of what we are going to do, we will create the community specifications file. We fill in the details, the public key of our bootstrappers. We will choose the initial gathering locations, and then we have some community assets which are used by the Android application, for instance, and the Explorer, like a community-specific icon, so you can design your front end around your community and publish the icons, the assets. To IPFS, for those who don't know this, IPFS is fancily called the Interplanetary File System. It's designed to make internet storage scalable, and it is also decentralized by nature, which is why it was our technology of choice. Yeah. After we have created specifications or have designed our specifications, we will use the spec file from before, create a new community on the chain, register with the bootstrapper for the key signing, gathering with the app, and register the other two with our Rust command line interface. With this, the key gathering cycle, at the key signing gathering cycle, we will have to go through governance, and yeah, we will also inspect the new community in the Encointer Explorer and then simulate the gathering using a script. And lastly, we will see with the app that we have really get our community issued income. All right, yeah. So I'll quickly prepare stuff here, and let's see. Here we have this is the Polkadot.js apps interface. You might know, here you see how the blocks are being produced. And we will first have a look at what we're going to do. This is in our Encointer node repository. This is the Latam demo that I'm going to do. We will have some well-defined bootstrappers. These are like the seeds we're going to use. The demo flow is based on the guideline we have in our Encointer book, how you create a new community. So what we're going to do is, as I told you before, we will fill in the bootstrapper in our community spec file. We'll pick the locations for the initial meetup location, gathering locations for our community, and insert it into the spec file. And we will upload our assets to IPFS. And lastly, yes, the app is already prepared with the Latam account. So yeah, let's have a look at the spec file. This is how it looks like. We have like the community with its metadata. We define a name for our new community that we create. the currency symbol. The assets I will fill out later. This will be the IPFS content identifier. And if you have, you can insert a URL. Then we'll also fill in the bootstrappers, which is currently empty. And now here we have an interesting parameter from the token economics perspective. This is the amount of blocks it takes from one token to decay into 0.5 token. And with the 6-second block time we have on our Gazelle testnet, this will be half a year. And then we also define our ceremony income, which is the amount of tokens you get per key signing gathering. This is the value we chose initially for our Zurich community. And we have kind of a social contract in Zurich, which means that one token is equivalent to one of our Zurich LOI token. Sorry, 1 Swiss franc is equivalent to 1 Zurich LOI token. And this is, so in Switzerland, this is kind of equivalent to 1 lunch. And we thought it's kind of nice that every 10 days you go to such a gathering and then you get 1 lunch, basically. And yes, lastly, the features field will be the locations. So first, maybe I will show you how to create the bootstrappers here. We use a handy tool called a subkey. I guess some of you already know it. It's kind of a nice tool to handle cryptographic keys. If we inspect the seed we have here, we will actually create the hex value of the secret seed. And we have like the account ID at the public key in SS58 format, which is the value we want to fill into our community spec file. If we now see here, this is what we're going to do. Now, this is a bit too big. Yes. And the same we could do now with the other two, but I will spare you the time and just like recreate the old state. So these are going to be our 3 bootstrappers. Then secondly, we have here our assets for our LATAM hackathon community. We have the community icon, which looks like this. And then we have 2 sound effects, which are currently used in our mobile application. It is the incoming balance sound, which means if someone transfers some tokens to you, this is the noise the sound you're going to hear. In our Zurich LOI community, LOI is Swiss for lion. We will have a nice lion's growl. Yes, and we also have the same for when we successfully send a transaction to the chain. So this is how we're going to do it. We can IPFS, yeah, exactly. With our local IPFS client, we can add it to our IPFS node, and we will use the top level content identifier of our folder to fill into our community specifications file. Now, lastly, we will pick our meetup locations. They are gonna be, we will use geojson.io. So I have already prepared 2 locations here in the Galapagos Islands. So what we can do now is we create like a next meetup location here. You saw this is the new meetup location we added. It popped up here. I will add it to the front because I want to create a freshly created community. And the community identifier will be based also on the first meetup location. This is why I have changed the order here. So yeah, now we can enter our meetup locations into our specifications file, and this is all we had to do here. Yes. So now we will follow the process we have prepared here. Let's go back to our command line interface. I will first create myself a handy alias for my command line to easily use our binary. So we connect to our Gazelle test network on this specific port. And this is the Rust binary that I have built before our Rust client to talk to our chain. And then we create our Encointer Gazelle alias, which is based on our binary, and the node and port from these two variables. So yeah, nothing happened yet. So now we will use our binary to like give some money to our bootstrappers so they are able to send transactions. So we will call our faucet, which will like it will gift some money to our bootstrappers. Now we will also go to the Explorer to see that something happens here. Oh yes, I'm in the wrong directory. Yes. So now we see that our faucet drips some balance to our, this is native token now, to our 3 bootstrappers. I am not sure why we don't see any events here. Maybe our faucet dried out. Okay, anyhow, this was only for demo purposes. So I have fauceted them before, so they have some money. Am I here on the test net? Yeah, I'm on the right network. Okay, so all should be good. So the next step would be that we create our new community based on our specifications file we had before, and we will sign the transaction with our LATAM1 account. And now we'll hopefully see this time that an event is created of the new community. Ah, yes, this worked. So we saw that the new community has registered. This is the, and we also added the 2 other geolocations from our spec file. And yes, so if we go now to our Explorer, here we see all the communities on our test network. Maybe I need to reload here. So that we have, yes, now we have here our freshly created LATAM community, LATAM hackathon. We don't have any money supply yet, as no key signing gathering has taken place. So next step, we'll register accounts for the bootstrapper account for the next ceremony. I will only do this. Oh, yes, I need to replace. We have created a new community with a new community identifier here. We see this. I need to update this in the file here. So let's delete the old one and replace it with the new one. Okay, yes. Now the commands should be fine. Let's register the 2 accounts for our next ceremony. This you can also do with the app, as I will show you very soon. Yes, we have 2 times an account that has been registered for the next meetup. And now I will go over to the app and yeah, 1 sec. Yeah, here is our cell phone application, and we can choose now our new community here, LATAM Hackathon. Oh, it already found the icon from IPFS and displays it in our app. We have no community currency tokens as of now. We will register for our for the next ceremony. Yes, here we see it. This is now I'm not sure, could you hear the sound? The lines grow? I'm not sure. Yes, anyhow, so our 3rd participant has now registered for the ceremony. And now we go back to our steps. As we have registered, we will now artificially go to the next phase, from the registering phase to the assigning phase with the root call. And this is the Gazelle root account. And it already took place. We are now in the next phase. Let's see here. Yeah, the super user event happened. We changed to our assigning phase. You can also see this here in the app. we are in the next phase now. We have been assigned to a meetup with 3 people. The ceremony location is as expected here on the Galapagos Islands, OPSA. Yes. So nothing more to be done in this phase. We will therefore continue just to the next one. And we will here again see that a pseudo ID will take place. Yes, we change phase to a testing. And this essentially means that now we have the option to start the key signing gathering. Here it's still called the ceremony at our location. So first we will say how many people attend at our meetup. We say it's going to be 3. So it's not how many have been assigned to the meetup, it's really how many have physically attended. It's part of the defense mechanism of our protocol to ensure that everything is going according to the process. So then a QR code will be created based on data relevant to your specific gathering, and also the how many people we have confirmed to be participants of this meeting. So this is the QR code that will be scanned by everybody else. We will also scan the other people's QR codes. And when we're finished, we can close the meetup. And then afterwards, we can submit our claims to the blockchain. Now, as we didn't scan anyone, we have no one here. So we will just finish. However, we will now perform the meetup with the script. This is only possible because it is a well-known meetup. We know exactly where it's going to be. We know who are the bootstrappers that are going to be part of the meetup. Otherwise, this is not possible due to like randomized meetup assignments. Yeah. So yeah, now we are performing the meetup for our 3 accounts for this community. We are creating the claims. We are sending the claims of the attendees to chain. And we will also see this here. Yes, the claim of attendances have been registered on chain. And yeah, maybe something I want to show in the Explorer too. We now see that we have 3 participants registered for the current key signing cycle. There was 1 meetup assigned. None have been assigned last time. And yes, so now what happens? We can go once again to the next phase. We are in the registering phase again. The application will tell us the same soon. Yes, we have changed to registering phase, and now it has been detected that we have been part of the last key signing gathering, and we can actually claim our community-based income. We will see this here. Yes, we have submitted a transaction, and we have also immediately gotten our rewards. This is similar to paying staking rewards in Polkadot for efficiency reasons to not overload the blockchain. Like the evaluation needs to be triggered one by one from the users. So only one person, one participant of a key signing gathering needs to trigger evaluation of the specific gathering, and everybody will get his rewards. Yes. So here we also see in the Explorer now, the total money supply is 66 because each of our bootstrappers received 22 tokens. I think we also see this here. Yes. Ceremonies palettes tells us that rewards have been issued for this meetup for meetup with ID 1 to the 3 bootstrappers, and the Encointer balances also tells us which account has received some money. Here we see this happened 3 times. Yes, I think, let me double check here, but yeah, this is everything I wanted to show for the demo. I'm very happy that except for the faucet, nothing unforeseen has happened. I did this about 7 times to be sure. Yes. So this was it for demo. So one last thing I have to show you guys is the LOI community, which is the first community that is on the productive network. It's in Zurich, which is also where the headquarters of the Encointer Association is. And now I will quickly show you a video of how such a key signing event may look in the real world. So, I'm not sure if it's a bit too loud. Yeah, so this is in Zurich. This was the first meetup, so it was maybe a little bit chaotic first, but there you see the QR codes, how people scan each other's QR codes. And the mood was very nice. You can feel that the people they feel like they are pioneering something, they are enthusiastic about the technology. And as of now, we all have a few acceptance points that accept our local Zurich token, which means that quite sometimes we go to the meetups, we get our money, and then we immediately go and spend it in in a local coffee shop or whatever, which accepts this token. And yes, have a great after event there. So maybe here's some numbers, like with our Zurich LOI community. We have a newspaper, we had some commercial turnover, which means that commercial turnover that it has been transacted at a business. We have transacted 3,500 LOI there already, which is around 3.5 circulation in those 23 weeks that we are active now. We have more than 2,000 transactions. We have 368 ceremony attendances by about 150 different people. And we have 660 accounts. We have like our downloads in the app shop. There are even more. I think many people, they have like just downloaded the app after they have read some like the newspaper article or some other PR stuff we did, and they never actually created an account. Yeah, we've held 90 ceremonies, 90 of these simultaneous key signing gatherings. As of now, we have already 5 permanent acceptance points, which are like coffee shops, a grocery store which really tries to buy locally and sell locally. We have been at 11 events now, like open airs and stuff. And yeah, so this is it. Thank you very much for listening. Here are like, maybe I should have also put some Twitter links and stuff. This is mostly links to our technology, like GitHub repositories. All of our code is open source. Here we have the technical documentation. We have the web page of our Zurich community, which is available in Spanish too. And yeah, this is our website of the Encointer community. Yeah, so this is it.
We have almost 15 minutes with this presentation. Great information. Watching this in the computer with first fundamentals, the Encointer functions, and then watching Polka.js, your API, and the demo coding was really clear for me, the functionalities in Encointer team. So Chris, I appreciate all your information and you share us today, and see you soon in the next one.
Okay, so it's already over. No more time for questions. I'm fine with this.
We don't have questions.
All right.
But that I think it's enough.
Okay, so, cool. Yeah. So maybe thanks one last word. I hope I could like show you how we work, and what we are really trying to do now is finding people all over the world which wants to maybe create a local community in their country. And we are very happy to help out. And yeah, we are basically looking for leaders who want to take the lead over there. And we can give some financial support, not too much though, because we want to design those communities to be self-sufficient. But we will help you out as good as we can. And we hope we will find communities all over the world.
Great. So, this session will be uploaded in the Polyglot Hackathon YouTube channel. we can add also the links for contact with the Encointer team. So yeah, thanks again, Chris, and well, see you soon.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Yeah, you want to tell something?
Yeah, it was just that one person asked if we plan to have a parachain on Polkadot too, and it's currently not in the immediate plan, but yeah, we would probably not say no.
Great.
All right.
Hope
So thank you very much for having me. I wish you
you.
yeah, good sessions.
Bye-bye, Chris.
Bye-bye.